Debbie, if you're listening out there, thank you very much for sending me that CD. That is fabulous. I get the Tom Verlaine reference. And perhaps at last, I mean, the long cut are great as well, but Manchester's beginning to have some musical force, again, to set against Sheffield.
Looks like it.
It looks like it. There's something pretty good there. And also, Armada, by the way, looks like a German long-tailed weasel. The family of the Marder are related to otters, dachses, and weasels, and the genuine Marder is a bow Marder. And the German theme of the Marder page on Wikipedia might lead us back to Joy Division, but it won't at the moment. It will lead us to a very short break, after which one of the best of the new Sheffield bands. I'm sorry about this, but we have to play the best bands on this programme, and if they do come from Sheffield, so be it. This is Anthony Wilson on XFM Manchester, Sunday Rose with his guest Lindsay Reade, sorry.
Freudian slip.
Freudian slip, though. Well, it is our wedding anniversary, dear.
True.
And I'm a very sad person, because when it was just the Arctic Monkeys who were supreme from Yorkshire, it was all right. But particularly the last 20 seconds of Little Man Tate there just got me. Sheffield, will you go away? Will you stop being so brilliant? And apparently Little Man Tate played the Roadhouse. Was it on Friday night? Was it Friday night? And it was a sweatshop, and they were fantastic. So there's another great... Anyway, but now we heard the Marder before. Manchester will survive, and we'll get our own back on Yorkshire. We go back now to the reason why, and for anything that happens anywhere else in the world, as Alan McGee once said, the head of Creation Records, in a fanzine interview for, I think it was United Fanzine, about 3 months ago, the problem with Wilson is, you can argue with him about anything, and in the end, all he has to say is 2 words, and you have to go quiet. And the 2 words are, of course, joy and division. Now, I've chosen a song here from Unknown Pleasures, the first Joy Division album. You've chosen it. And yes, Tony from Davenport, you want it as well. So we're all happy now. I'm going to read a little bit from the book. Thus, the first half of Unknown Pleasures, this is your book, Lindsay, simply had to conclude with New Dawn Fades, another immensely poignant track given the course in which the story moves. The trudging guitar rose through the scale before allowing Ian total and Curtis total and utter command in what is his best performance on the album. Like Marquis Smith, Ian had the knack of catching the imagination with one line from a pack of lyrics. And in New Dawn Fades, and the nice thing here is you quote a line...
Mick Middles wrote that bit.
Mick wrote this bit. Mick, you're absolutely right. Whenever I hear this line, it makes me react the same way, which is, I kind of swear at the bastard, because it is such an annoying line. He says, a loaded gun won't set you free, and then, as if you're listening to that, he goes, so you say.
So you say.
So you say.
So is it so you say,
it
or
is.
so you say?
So you say. Whatever it is, it pisses me off every time I hear it, in the same way that Ian pissed me off by actually leaving. You take my place in the showdown, I observe with a pitiful eye. The writer, perhaps, it says here, could perhaps set you free. Didn't set himself free, but he made some wonderful music. This is New Dawn Fades. That's New Dawn Fades, the original version from Unknown Pleasures. And if you're a Joy Division fan, I would like to direct you to 2 other versions of that song. One is Moby's incredible version on the Heat movie soundtrack, and then secondly, there's the live version that I managed to get put onto the 24-hour Party People soundtrack album. And the nice story there is, and this is with my guest Lindsay Reade, who is the new biographer of Ian Curtis, that I think it was in San Francisco in 89 or 90, and New Order were playing with Red Hot Chili Peppers and Billy Corgan and Moby. And the afternoon sound check, Moby went, because Moby's a massive Joy Division fan, he goes, let's do New Dawn Fades. And Billy Corgan said, let's do New Dawn Fades. And John Frusciante said, let's do New Dawn Fades. And our boys went, how does it go? And you then had a sound check where Moby and John Frusciante and Billy Corgan had to teach Joy Division New Order how to play one of their great classic songs that they'd damn well forgotten, which is what happens to musicians sometimes, particularly Mancunian musicians, who take too many drugs. Just clean your act up, guys, and you'll be able to remember how to play the songs you wrote. Lindsay Reade, you've chosen you're almost as bad as me with this 60s obsession, a Byrds track. Why have you chosen the Byrds?
Oh, it's a great song if you're travelling. It's an easy rider, isn't it? And it'll sound better if you're in the car now. It sounds better.
Okay, so if you're listening at home, you've got about 30 seconds to get out into your car, begin driving down the local avenue.
Makes you feel happy.
It makes you feel happy when you're driving. This is a Byrds song.
Going somewhere.
Going somewhere. We're going somewhere. We're going with Roger McGinn and his mates. That was the choice of my guest, Lindsay Reade, the co-biographer of Ian Curtis, and therefore it's about time for another Joy Division song, folks. But again, there's this weird sort of bootleg I found in New York. Should I be allowed to buy bootlegs? Is that kind of illegal?
Well, everyone does it.
Everyone does, don't they? I bought a bootleg CD in actually in Greenwich Village, of all places, a few months ago, and it's called Desperation Takes Hold. It's one of 243 different Joy Division bootlegs. And listen, Hooky, I know the money isn't going into your pocket, but love is. And love's more important than money. I know you haven't realised that, Peter, but, you know, as time goes on. And I haven't listened to this particular one yet, but it feels like it's time for Love Will Tear Us Apart, and a live version would be fun. And you want to dedicate this to who, Lindsay?
Ian's mum and his sister.
Carol.
Well, it's his mum's favourite.
Well, Love Will Tear Us Apart?
Yeah. I know it's a bit...
It's everybody's favourite.
Well, it's not mine.
Which is your favourite?
Oh, I think maybe New Dawn Phase.
New Dawn Phase. Okay, we've had that. Let's have a live version again, I think from somewhere in Holland or Belgium. It was the Low Countries anyway. It's a live version, so it's Low Country people listening to Love Will Tear Us Apart. Joy Division, a frenetic version of Love Will Tear Us Apart, and Hooky, if you're listening, if I'd known you got the bass line wrong so many times on that song, I wouldn't have played it. You obviously had a very heavy night the night before. Still, it still does sound wonderful, and that was for Mrs. Curtis and Carol, Ian's sister. What was the worst bit of writing this book, and what was the best bit of writing the book? My guest here on XFM Sunday Roast Manchester is Lindsay Reade, the co-author of the new Torn Apart Ian Curtis biography. What was the best bit about it, and what was the worst?
Well, the best thing was meeting people and getting to know Ian, actually, funnily enough, because I realised I didn't know him that well. And
you did spend a week together. You did spend a week together, but it was a difficult one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, he wasn't himself in that week. And
I should explain that to the listener that when Ian was recovering from his first illness, shall we call it, he spent a week at our house, and I thought I was helping a friend, but I went off to work every day at Granada and left the two of you going slowly mad together, didn't I, really? Yes. But you found you got to know him better by talking to people 25 years later?
I really got to know him, and what a great guy he was, and that was a real pleasure.
And what was the worst thing about writing the book?
The worst thing? I don't know. I don't think there was a particularly bad thing, really, except... Well, there probably was loads of niggly things.
You got very niggled by people who wouldn't talk to you. We won't mention that.
Yeah, that was
And you got very niggled by the fact that, although I would talk to you, I didn't want to go on record, so you've left me out of the book, I hope.
No, you're in the book.
Well, you promised me you were leaving me out, because remember,
No, you said it was okay.
No, well, okay, let's not have a row now. Remember, because there is the real serious film written by Matt Greenhalgh, directed by Anton Corbijn, starts filming next month, and that has to take precedence over your book and over the Rogue film, which would like to use your book.
Well, yeah, but the Rogue film was the one that began it all. Was the Michael Stock version.
Was the Michael Stock version, but then if AA Films in New York hadn't have behaved very badly to Debbie and they didn't pay the money they promised, and that's where it went wrong, and that's when they were out of it, and then they refused to get out of it.
No, they just didn't pick up the option.
Exactly.
Everyone's entitled not to pick up.
Yes, fine. Then if you don't pick up the option.
Well, your guys didn't pick up the option on our book.
Well, fine, But the film people did not pick up the option. They didn't pay Debbie for Touch from a Distance, quite rightly. They moved to other people to make the film and do a proper job. And also, they're doing a great job by choosing Matt Greenhalgh, who wrote Burn It, who's part of the Red Stable here in Manchester, one of our great screenwriters, to write the screenplay. That was a great move. Michael Stock's screenplay wasn't great. And secondly, choosing Anton Corbijn, who took, together with dear Mr. Cummins.
Anton.
Everyone loves Anton, and Anton took the original photographs of Ian and did the Atmosphere video in the late 80s. Anyway,
but you did say it was okay to put your bits in the book, because I have done.
Well,
you did say
we're between things. Let's not go there. Okay. We're going to take a very short break, and after that we're going to come back with the best, in my opinion, the most wonderful new Manchester singer-songwriter. There's several good ones around, but Liam Frost is, for my mind, the best, and also the Happy Mondays and the Stone Roses. Is this a Manchester radio station? This is the Sunday Rise on XFM Manchester. This is Anthony Wilson, and that was the wonderful Liam Frost, who I thought I was in love with. I'm now totally in love with. That's the new single, The Mourner of St. Paul's, and Liam told me that I think he wrote that about his father's funeral. I may have got that wrong. My guest is Lindsay Reade, co-author of the new Ian Curtis biography, and we usually disagree about music, Linz, but...
We agreed about him. We like
Isn't he
Liam.
wonderful?
Yeah,
Liam Frost
he's
is
great.
wonderful. So the